Well, here we are, everybody, still in the foothills of the great Smoky Mountains of East Tennessee in Sevier County. Today, we're going to be looking at the Brabson Cemetery. So get your pen and paper ready and get ready to write down some ancestral names, and let's go. So we're going to start off with a view of the cemetery. There it is. Pretty nice little cemetery. And we'll show you where the map says it's located. It's southwest of Kodak, Tennessee, along the French Broad River, just off Boyd's Creek Highway. And I know that if you're familiar with that area, Boyd's Creek is a very popular place. So anyway, there's only 68 people that are buried here, and the earliest burial that we could find is 1829. So we're going to say that it was established then. And here we go. Let's get started. We got Benjamin Davis Brabson Sr., 1809 to 1866. Now, this is a cenotaph, and let me tell you why. Benjamin was so upset about how his family was treated in Sevier County over the Confederate Association during the Civil War that he didn't even want to be buried in Sevier County. He would rather have been buried in Franklin County, Tennessee. So that's where they put him. And we got a picture of him. And next is his wife, Elizabeth Berry Toole Brabson, 1821 to 1894. And here's a picture of Elizabeth. Then there's Benjamin Davis Brabson III, 1905 to 1982, and his wife, Estelina Rogers Brabson, 1912 to 1989. And he was a longtime banker and actually the Justice of the Peace for Sevier County. So there's some history. And we have their son, Benjamin Davis, they called him Ben Brabson, 1939 to 2021. So he just passed away recently. We have a photo of him, and we're thinking this is probably taken in the 50s or 60s. Now, this Benjamin served as a naval intelligence officer during the Vietnam War. He graduated from the University of Tennessee College of Law in 1974, and he went on to practice law in Sevierville for many years. Now later he raised cattle on the family farm. Ben grew up and spent most of his adult years on the farm, which overlooks the confluence of the French Broad River and Boyd's Creek in Sevier County. The Brabson Farm is designated as a Tennessee Pioneer Century Farm. The present home, built in 1856, is listed in the National Registry of Historical Places. Now get this. This pioneer farm had been in the family for over 225 years. That's a long time to be in a family. I mean, to have the same family to have the same farm. So that is awesome. All right, let's move along. We got Catherine D. Brabson, 1900 to 1995. Cora Hannah Rorix Brabson, 1870 to 1943. Eleanor Brabson, 1895 to 1993. Elizabeth Brabson, 1905 to 1997. Ephraim Brabson, 1811 to 1847, and Ephraim was a doctor. We have infant twin girls of the Brabson family, and we don't have any dates for them. We have John Brabson Jr., 1893 to 1972, and we found a picture of him while he was attending the University of Tennessee around 1917. John served as a second lieutenant in the U.S. Army's Quartermaster Corps during World War I. Now we have John Bowen Brabson, II, 1775 to 1848. So you just by those dates, you can tell he was an early settler. He was born in Berkeley County, Virginia. Now, if that sounds familiar, it's now West Virginia. So that tells you how old that is. We also have his wife, Sarah Elizabeth Betsy Davis Brabson, 1791 to 1868. And we found that she was born in South Carolina. And we actually have a photo of her. Look at that. Now we have John Bowen Brabson IV, 1858 to 1943. John P. Brabson, 1828 to 1829. And that baby was only 6 months old. And this one is the first member of the Brabson family to be buried in this cemetery. We have Louise Brabson, 1902 to 1989. Lucille Ann Bale Brabson, 1906 to 1997. We have her husband, Samuel Rorix Brabson, 1897 to 1997. And Samuel was 100 years old when he passed. He died in August, and Lucille died the following December. So can you imagine how long they had been together? That's something. Next we have Melinda. They called her Linda. Landis Brabson, 1897 to 1994. And we know that she was born in Nashville, Tennessee. And the newspaper clipping from the September 7th, 1913 edition of the Tennessean newspaper out in Nashville, Linda is circled in red. And these young ladies were getting ready for some sort of fair. And then we have another picture that was taken around 1920, I'd say. And another newspaper clipping from September 27 of 1936 edition of the Nashville Banner. Linda is circled in red again, and the article seems to be about the local YWCA. Now we have William Toole Brabson, 1842 to 1888. And this is his original headstone. And this is his newer grave marker. And William served as a private in Company L of the 8th Tennessee Cavalry in the Confederate Army during the Civil War. Now, he was captured by Union forces in Huntsville, Alabama on October the 12th of 1863, was later transferred to Louisville, Kentucky, and he was released on March the 6th of 1865 from Camp Morton, Indiana. So he's seen some stuff. We have Kate Carnes Butler, 1868 to 1950. Melinda Singleton Davis, 1808 to 1846, And this is a photo of her regular headstone. But now we're going to look at her husband, and this is his name. It's not representative, it's Reps Jones, and they called him RJ Davis. Early settler, 1796 to 1853. And here's a close-up of the inscription on his obelisk. The photo shows both of his graves, their graves, and you can see his obelisk just behind the ledger stone covering his grave. And Melinda's grave is on your right, and it was in what we call a box tomb, covered by a ledger stone on top. That's cool. And let's move along. We got Joseph Witherspoon Dunlap, 1907 to 1985, with his wife, Ruby Brabson Dunlap, 1908 to 1999. We know that Joseph was born in South Carolina, and he was also a Presbyterian minister. Now there's Abraham J. Hicks, 1841 to 1903, and his wife, Mary P. Hicks, 1854 to 1942. Abraham served in Company G of the 19th Tennessee Infantry in the Confederate Army during the Civil War. Now there's Benjamin Hicks, 1910 to 1926. And we also have two brothers, Henry Fox Hicks, 1914 to 1917. And he was just under 3 years old when he passed. And his brother, Robert Hodgson, oh my goodness, Hicks, 1917 to 1918. And that little feller only lived for a year. That's so sad. Now we have John Hodgson Hicks. I don't know if I'm saying that right. Hodgson. I'm going to say it Hodgson, but it's Hodsden. 1873 to 1943. And his wife, Mattie Bell Dixon Hicks, 1880 to 1947. There is Nellie Katura Hicks, 1884 to 1973. Robert Jackson Hicks, 1895 to 1965. Ruth E. Hicks, 1889 to 1945. Sarah J. Hicks, 1887 to 1891, just under 4 years old. Now we have an infant daughter of the Hodgson family. She was born and died January the 7th of 1856. We have John Brabson Hodgson, 1852 to 1903. Mary Reese Brabson Hodgson, 1818 to 1888. Penelope Brabson Hodgson, 1850 to 1852, and that baby was just a year and a half old when she passed. Now there is Priscilla F. Hodgson, 1844 to 1853. Her husband, not her husband. We have Priscilla and Penelope's father, Robert A. Hodgson, 1806 to 1864. And you'll notice that he has a Masonic emblem on his headstone. And he was a medical doctor. So there's 2 doctors in this cemetery so far. We have an infant daughter of the Jones family. She was born and died May the 25th of 1861. We have John Dugan Keeler, 1807 to 1885. And we don't have a photo of his grave. Have George H. McNutt, 1881 to 1914, and that McNutt is a famous name, it's a very common first settler name here in this area, in the Knoxville area where I'm at, and in Sevier County. So he was born in Virginia. We have the infant daughter of the McNutt family, born and died November the 20th of 1953. Robert Benjamin McNutt, 1850 to 1856. Margaret Brabson McQueen, 1911 to 1996. And this also is a cenotaph. She's actually buried in Florida. Then we have Amelia Brabson Sharp, 1850 to 1897. And we have her husband, Guilford E. Sharp, 1852 to 1921. And guess what? He was a medical doctor. So there's 3 doctors so far. We got Benjamin B. Sharp, 1879 to 1907. And he was a doctor also. So there's 4 doctors. A lot of doctors in this cemetery. Got Elizabeth Berry Sharp. Now, we don't have a birth date for her, but she died August 29th of 1970. So that may be a birth and death date. We're not sure about that. Now we have Ella Berry Sharp, 1889 to 1960. Florence Irene Brabson Sharp, 1852 to 1888. And look at the wreath that is carved on her headstone. Now, this can symbolize life and the cycle of life and death. So I really love to pay attention to the carvings on these headstones because it's really cool to know, the meaning behind them. If you do this stuff like I do, I like it. Let's move on. We got Florence Irene Sharp, 1891 to 1979. Infant daughter of the Sharp family, born and died August the 22nd of 1887. And an infant son of the Sharp family, born and died of February 27th of 1885. So sad. James Madison Sharp Jr., 1849 to 1909. And his wife, Jane Shields Brabson Sharp. They called her Jenny, 1856 to 1920. We have Samuel L. Sharp, 1887 to 1888. And this little guy lived for a year. Now we have Alfred W. Walker, 1906 to 1994. Alfred served as a captain in the U.S. Navy during World War II. John Hicks Walker, 1904 to 1950. And guess what? He was a doctor too. So what is that, 5 now? Mary France Walker, 1898 to 1901. And she was only 3 years old when she passed. How heartbreaking is this? Nell Norton Halliday Walker, 1908 to 1963. And she was the wife of Captain Alfred W. Walker Jr. that we just spoke of. And now is Thomas Tipton Walker, 1904 to 1937. And he was a doctor too. So that's 6. Wow. Wallace Haynes Walker, 1900 to 1983. And there is one person buried here that does not have a photo of their grave. And it is Mary Ann Polly Baker Keeler, 1813 to 1898. There's that Mary Polly again. That is such a popular name in that era. And that's going to wrap up this video. But before we close, I want to thank every one of our new subscribers and our old subscribers and those who comment and leave such sweet messages. And it just tickles me to death to find that you guys have found, you tell me that this is my grandfather, or I'm kin to them, or I was looking for this person. I am so glad that we're able to do this little thing to help people and help others, because we really love doing it. So if you don't care, tell your friends and share the video and like it and subscribe. We sure would appreciate it. So until next week, we will be seeing you then. Bye-bye.